The sun hung low over the Colorado plains, casting a burnt orange hue over the sparse landscape. Dust swirled in the wind, trailing like ghosts through the abandoned homesteads and crumbling fences of the outskirts of Dry Willow. The town was small, barely clinging to life, but it still pulsed with the grit and stubbornness of those who called it home. Jake Callahan tugged the brim of his hat down against the glare as he guided his horse, Boone, down the trail toward town. He was a quiet man, tall, broad-shouldered, and worn by war and ranch life. His past was a ledger of mistakes and violence he tried to bury with each passing day. Then he saw her. At first, it was only movement. Something limping along the trail just ahead, half collapsed beneath the heat. As he rode closer, he realized it was a woman. Her dress was torn at the hem, caked in dried blood and dust. She leaned against a crooked tree branch like a crutch, her right leg dragging behind her, clearly injured. Jake dismounted and approached slowly. You all right?" She looked up sharply. Her eyes were fierce despite her exhaustion, stormy gray, the color of a sky before a downpour. "Don't touch me," she croaked. "I ain't here to hurt you," he said gently. "You need help." Her body swayed with fatigue. "I don't need anything from a man." Jake didn't argue. He simply stepped forward, scooped her up in his arms, and carried her to Boone before she could protest again. "Damn you," she muttered weakly. Jake only murmured, "Let me carry the weight for a while." Chapter 2, Wounds and Walls. Jake brought her to his small ranch on the edge of town, a cabin built with rough pine, nestled near a creek. After tending to Boone, he carried the woman inside and laid her gently on the bed. "You got a name?" he asked. She hesitated. Claire Whitlock." "All right, Claire. I'll patch you up, but I need to look at that leg." Reluctantly, she nodded. As he peeled back her torn stocking, he saw the extent of the damage. Her ankle was swollen, purple with bruising, likely twisted or worse. Dried blood marked a long gash on her calf, but it wasn't infected. Not yet. She watched him work, biting her lip as he cleaned and bandaged her wounds with the care of a man who knew suffering. "You a doctor?" she asked through gritted teeth. "No, just seen my share of pain." Claire didn't ask more that day. She slept with a knife tucked beneath her pillow and flinched whenever Jake got too close. But she didn't leave. Chapter 3, The Passer's Teeth. Days passed. Claire's leg began to heal, though she still limped. She spent her time near the window, staring out like she was expecting someone, or fearing them. Jake didn't push. He gave her space, but brought her tea and stew, and slowly, the silence between them softened. One morning, as he repaired a saddle on the porch, she sat nearby. "You ever been married, Jake?" she asked without looking at him. "No," he replied. "Came close once. She left when she realized I was carrying too many ghosts." Claire gave a bitter laugh. "Ghosts are better than demons. Mine has a name, Royce Whitlock." Jake's hands froze mid-stitch. "My husband," she continued, he owns land near Abilene. And me. Or thought he did." Jake waited. "He broke my ribs once 'cause I talked back. Burned my hand with an iron for hiding money. Told the sheriff I fell off a ladder." She paused. "I ran 2 weeks ago. He'll come looking. He always does." Jake stood, rage simmering behind his eyes. "If he shows his face here, I'll put him in the date." Claire looked at him then, truly looked. "Why are you being kind to me?" "Because someone should have been kind to you a long time ago." Chapter 4, The Gathering Storm. Dry Willow was a place where everyone knew everyone. Rumors spread quick, and it didn't take long for Royce Whitlock's name to surface. A rider came through town asking about a woman limping through the hills. Jake heard about it from the blacksmith and knew it was time. That night, he told Claire. She didn't cry. She simply stared into the fire, jaw tight. "I ain't running again," she said. "If he finds me, I'll end it this time, one way or another." Jake didn't argue. He handed her a small revolver from his drawer. "Let's make sure you have a fighting chance." She took it and held it in her lap like it was a familiar burden. Chapter 5. Ash and Iron. Royce Whitlock arrived 3 days later, his silver spades ringing like the devil's laughter as he stepped into town. He was clean-cut, wore a black hat and a cool grin. Jake met him outside the saloon. "I hear my wife's been spotted limping around here," Royce said. "She's got a wild imagination. Thinks I'm the villain." Jake didn't blink. "She's safe. You're not taking her anywhere." Royce's grin twisted. "She's my property." "No, she's a free woman." "Then I suppose we'll have to settle this like men." Jake spit in the date. "I was hoping you'd say that." Chapter 6. Gunpowder and Grit. The duel was inevitable. The townsfolk cleared the street at dawn. Claire stood on the porch of Jake's cabin, trembling, her legs still healing but her back straight. Royce faced Jake with cold, practiced eyes. But Jake had something Royce didn't, something he'd learned on blood-soaked fields and broken nights: purpose. The shot rang out like thunder. Royce fell, a hole blooming red through his chest. Jake lowered his smoking gun. "She's not your property. She's her own damn soul." Claire sobbed, half grief, half relief, and ran to Jake, falling into his arms. It was over. Chapter 7. After the storm. Claire stayed. At first, she helped around the ranch, feeding chickens, mending clothes, and sitting by the fire reading aloud. The limp never fully left, but neither did the steel in her spine. Jake built her a garden. She built him a home. One evening, months later, under a setting sun and a sky brushed with rose and gold, Claire turned to Jake as they sat on the porch. "You didn't just heal my wounds," she said. "You healed the part of me I thought was gone." He took her hand, callous and warm. "We found each other in the dust," he said. "Maybe that's where the strongest things grow."